Wang Lin's expression was calm as he clasped his hands and calmly said, "I have lost my way. I'm wondering what domain of the All-Heaven star system this is. What is the name of this planet?" The middle-aged man pondered before taking a step back and saying, "This is the Western domain and this is planet Black Earth. What is your name?" Wang Lin looked at the middle-aged man and didn't answer. He took out a jade and checked it with his divine sense. He found the location of planet Black Earth and determined his location. At this moment, the middle-aged man took a few steps back. His right hand touched his bag and a jade appeared in his hand. His expression became focused as he checked the jade. When the Yao family sent out the heaven order, the Yao family members carved Sumu's appearance on jades and sent them to many families. If someone provided a clue about the target of a heaven order, then they would be greatly rewarded. The middle-aged man's heart pounded as he checked the jade. Aside from the clothes, the person inside the jade was almost exactly the same as the person before him. Sumu. He is Sumu. A wave was set off within the middle-aged man, but his expression didn't reveal a trace of it. The middle-aged man's expression was neutral, and then he smiled. Fellow cultivator rushed all the way here. Why not stay here and rest for a few days before leaving? Wang Lin withdrew the jade and looked at the middle-aged man, especially at the jade in the middle-aged man's hand. He calmly said, "No need." With that, he charged into the distance. Behind him, the chosen immortal clan expressionlessly followed him. The hundreds of rays of light quickly disappeared into the distance. One of the old men looked at Wang Lin and company disappearing and said, "Brother Ouyang, these people's background is unknown. Why did you invite them to our planet? Right now we must go into closed-door cultivation and strive to take a celestial title. Brother Chun, don't you think that person looked a bit familiar?" The middle-aged man's eyes lit up and he threw the jade in his hand. The two old men were startled. After carefully looking at the jade, their expressions changed greatly. It was actually him. Rumor has it that this person has been missing for a long time. He unexpectedly appeared here. The Yao family rewards people who provide any clue. If this works out, then taking a celestial title will be a lot easier. The middle-aged man licked his lip and his eyes flooded with greed. One of the old men hesitated and said, "However, this Sumu isn't a nobody. If we reveal his location, will he come to take revenge? No need to worry. He won't have a chance to retaliate against us as he will be killed by the Yao family." The middle-aged man sneered as he took back the jade. He clenched his teeth and immediately crushed the jade. It turned into mist. The mist moved and condensed into an illusory figure. This was a figure of a youth. He had an extremely arrogant expression. Planet Black Earth's Ouyang-kun greets Yao family Sky Messenger. "I just found a trace of Sumu." Wang Lin moved extremely fast through the stars with hundreds of rays of light following him, charging into the distance. While flying, Wang Lin pondered. That middle-aged man was a bit strange. However, I'm not acquainted with him nor have I met him in the past. Maybe I'm paranoid. As Wang Lin pondered, there was a flash of coldness in his eyes and he stopped. The chosen immortal clan members all stopped and looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and took out a map jade. After leaving behind a mark, he threw it to the chosen immortal clan ancestor. He calmly said, "I put a marker on the location of planet Qingling. You all head over here, I'll catch up later." The old man silently pondered and took the jade. After examining it, he looked at Wang Lin and respectfully said, "Since that is the case, we will head out first. Benefactor, let us meet on planet Qingling." Wang Lin slightly nodded and watched the chosen immortal clan leave. After they left, Wang Lin turned around and took a step toward planet Black Earth. The three people at planet Black Earth were acting strangely. There might be a problem there. It is better to be cautious. Ripples appeared under his feet. After one step, he took another step and more ripples appeared. He merged with the world without any hindrance. At the moment he raised his foot for the third step, he disappeared completely. Outside planet Black Earth, the middle-aged man had just finished speaking. The eyes of the youth formed by the mist shined brightly. There was a trace of excitement on his face as he said, "Very good. I'll report the clue you three have given to the family. If it is true, then there naturally won't be any lacking of benefits for you three." After he spoke, the mist disappeared. The middle-aged man's eyes were filled with joy. He looked back at his two companions and laughed. This is very simple. We just have to provide clues and that Sumu will without a doubt die. Why should we let others get this benefit? It is heaven's will to give us this opportunity. Otherwise, why would Sumu come here instead of another cultivation planet? The two old men silently pondered and wryly smiled. Now that the matter was already set, it was impossible to change. However, there was a shadow of worry that wouldn't disappear in their hearts. I hope Sumu isn't as strong as the legend says and that he gets killed by the Yao family. If he finds out that his whereabouts were leaked by us, I fear. Just as the old man said this, his expression changed greatly. He looked behind the middle-aged man and his face immediately turned pale without a trace of blood. The other old man's body shivered. His eyes revealed a look of disbelief and he exclaimed, Sumu! At this moment, all the hair on the middle-aged man's body stood up and a chill appeared in his heart. He didn't dare to move or turn around at all, as if he was shocked by lightning. A ripple appeared in the void behind the middle-aged man and Wang Lin walked out. His eyes were filled with killing intent so strong that it was also corporeal. The three of you got guts. When Wang Lin appeared, his two fingers formed a sword. With one step, he pressed it directly on the back of the middle-aged man's head. Popping sounds echoed inside the middle-aged man. He then coughed out a large amount of blood and a large amount of blood sprayed out of his body. As he flew out in an arc, his body collapsed and his origin soul tried to escape. However, his origin soul was immediately caught by Wang Lin, who was filled with killing intent. This scene was like a giant hammer slamming into the chests of the two old men. This caused them to be filled with terror. The two of them didn't hesitate to retreat while screaming. Holding the middle-aged man's origin soul, Wang Lin coldly looked at the two people escaping in two different directions. He didn't personally pursue, but a shadow appeared from behind him. Ta Shan rushed out and chased after them. There was no difficulty in killing two frightened illusory Yin cultivators with Ta Shan's corporeal Yang celestial guard body. Senior, please have mercy. Junior's cultivation was not easily obtained. Senior, have mercy. The middle-aged man was scared out of his wits. His origin soul was constantly begging for mercy in Wang Lin's hand. Wang Lin's expression was cold as his left hand pressed down on the middle-aged man's origin soul. Origin energy rushed into his left hand, and he began searching the origin soul's memories. The middle-aged man's origin soul was startled and started to wither. His face was filled with pain and his origin soul was trembling as if it could collapse at any time. He could clearly feel that his origin soul was being violently probed by a giant hand as if it was searching for something. The intense pain was enough for him to almost go crazy. Under this pain, he was washed over with boundless regret. This regret slowly spread across his origin soul, causing it to gradually dissipate. Sometimes thousands of years of cultivation would turn to dust due to one wrong choice. When Wang Lin extracted the middle-aged man's memories, Wang Lin's eyes became even colder. In the end, he was like a half-unsheathed sword and monstrous killing intent built up inside him. Wang Lin muttered, "So this is how it is." At this moment, popping sounds came from the distance. Each of Ta Shan's hands was holding an origin soul and a bag when he returned. Same as before, Wang Lin used the soul-searching spell on the other two origin souls. Combining the memories of the three, Wang Lin gained a clear understanding of what happened while he was trapped. He naturally wouldn't let the origin souls of three people that offended him go. He threw them into the soul flag to be used as food for using Call the Wind. As for the three's bags of holding, Wang Lin checked them and found some magical treasures. He took them out and crushed them one by one. Then he spat out essence origin energy to turn them into liquid before fusing them into Ta Shan's body. The power of a celestial guard's body mainly came from the rare heavenly treasures mentioned in the celestial jade. However, those heavenly treasures had long since been extinct, so Wang Lin could only do the next best thing. He extracted various treasures from materials to make the celestial guard stronger and stronger. There were also two pieces of jade inside their bags. According to their memories, these jades were used to contact the Yao family. It could be said that the Yao family had deployed a great deal of force to deal with him. Almost every cultivator in the All-Heaven star system that was in the second step had a copy of this jade. A portrait of Wang Lin was included in the jade. Holding the two jades, Wang Lin had a gloomy expression. He looked into the distance. Yao! The heads of the four great families. What reason are they hunting me for? Wang Lin silently pondered. He had a lot of grudges against the four great families, especially the Yao family. Not only did the matter with the blood ancestor occur, there was also the incident with the young master of the Yao family. There was also the matter with the collection pavilion. It shouldn't be the blood ancestor. The blood ancestor knows my real name, so if it was because of the blood ancestor, then the name on the heaven order would not be Su Mu. It would be Wang Lin. However, it is possible that because my real name was never used and the name Su Mu is much more familiar, the Yao family decided to use Su Mu for the heaven order. Similarly, the young master of the Yao family that wanted to kill Li Yun also died by my hand. With the Yao family's strength, they must have some spells to know about the deaths of their family members. It is unlikely because of the collection pavilion. The collapse of the Thunder Celestial Realm makes that very unlikely. As Wang Lin pondered, his heart was filled with killing intent. Heaven order. This reminds me of the 10,000 Devil 100-day kill order. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he flew forward. He turned into a meteor and rushed off among the stars. The Yao family is too big, so there is no safe place in the All-Heaven star system. Also, there are certainly people as strong and even stronger than the blood ancestor. Wang Lin frowned and his heart became gloomy. As he flew, ripples appeared under his feet. Half of his body had merged with the world, but he didn't use spatial bending. He kept this state as he continued to move forward. He wanted to calculate how long it would take for the Yao family to send people to kill him after receiving his whereabouts. Not long after, Wang Lin stopped and his eyes lit up. He saw 7 rays of sword energy charging straight at him. At the same time, there were also 7 rays of light rushing over from the left and right. 7 rays of light also rushed over from behind Wang Lin. It seemed like all directions were blocked. Wang Lin's eyes turned cold and he muttered. From receiving the information to now, only the time for 2 incense sticks to burn has passed. It seems like the Yao family members are spread across the All-Heaven star system. Wang Lin's body didn't move. He swept everyone with his gaze and his eyes narrowed. That's incorrect. Not all of these people can be from the Yao family. Otherwise, the Yao family would have too many people. It is likely that the Yao family sent their family members across the All-Heaven system. Then they contacted the nearby cultivation planets, so they can find me in a short period of time. After confirming his speculation, Wang Lin's eyes became filled with killing intent and he muttered, I haven't slaughtered in a long time. I can't kill the old ones, but I'll kill the young ones as they come. Killing intent filled Wang Lin's body. He was originally not a kind person. Right now he was surrounded by 28 cultivators who were also filled with killing intent. It was clear they held the idea of killing him. With a sweep of his divine sense, Wang Lin clearly saw through the cultivation of the 28 cultivators. The 7 to the left were the weakest. Among these 7 rays of light, 4 of them were illusory cultivators and the remaining 3 were peak ascendant cultivators, all rushing at him filled killing intent. The ripples around Wang Lin spread across his body as he took a step to the left with a cold expression. In an instant, Wang Lin's figure disappeared and the expressions of the cultivators locked onto him immediately changed. At the same time, a ripple appeared beside the 7 rays of light from the left as Wang Lin stepped out. At the moment he appeared, he raised his 2 fingers like a sword and mercilessly chopped down. A heavenly chop suddenly appeared and charged forward like an invisible blade. The 3 peak ascendant cultivators immediately let out miserable groans as their bodies collapsed and died. There were popping sounds and then a large mist of blood filled the area. The expressions of the remaining 4 changed greatly, and they immediately spread out. However, in the eyes of Wang Lin, who was at the corporeal yang stage, they were too slow. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he chased after one of the illusory cultivators. This cultivator was a middle-aged man. Facing Wang Lin's pursuit, he revealed a vicious gaze. His hand formed a seal and the origin energy in his body surged. He was about to use an origin energy spell. Wang Lin revealed a sneer as his body flickered and he pointed forward. The middle-aged man suddenly stopped and Wang Lin charged forward. Wang Lin's foot stepped on the middle-aged man's forehead, as if he was using him as a stepping stone. There was a bang. Then the middle-aged man's body exploded and his origin soul flew out in panic. However, a black mist came out from the soul flag Wang Lin had taken out and wrapped around the origin soul. All of this happened in a flash and Wang Lin had already killed 4 people. The smell of blood filled the area. At this moment, the other 3 groups quickly approached Wang Lin. Shouts and roars filled the starry sky as various magical treasures and spells were used by the cultivators, and they were all directed at Wang Lin. The most powerful attacks came from 3 people. They were all old men and their cultivations weren't any weaker than Wang Lin's. One of them was even slightly above Wang Lin, having reached the peak of the corporeal Yang stage. No matter how strong Wang Lin was, if the attack of more than 20 cultivators landed on his body, if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. However, Wang Lin's eyes were calm. His eyes revealed a cold gaze and the killing intent inside his body continued to grow. He took a step forward. When he was flying before, he wasn't unprepared. He remained half-merged with the world, as under this state he could use spatial bending even faster. With one step, Wang Lin's body disappeared and those attacks that suddenly lost their target missed. Wang Lin's body suddenly appeared behind a corporeal Yang cultivator. At the moment Wang Lin appeared, he used Heavenly Chop with no hesitation. The cultivator's body trembled before he could even react. This cultivator was at the corporeal Yang stage, so he activated his origin energy to resist. Just as he was forming a seal while disregarding the pain from his body, Wang Lin's finger suddenly pressed against his back. The cultivator's body collapsed with a bang. As soon as his origin soul flew out, it was caught by the soul flag. At the same time, Wang Lin took a step backward and disappeared once more. All of this happened too quickly. When the surrounding cultivators reacted, Wang Lin had already disappeared. Wang Lin had seen the path to the 3rd step and had mastered spatial bending. He could be completely invincible in a battle like this. This was how Celestial Lord Qing Shui used this to battle hundreds of cultivators without taking any damage. Wang Lin had managed to learn this from him. This bizarre killing method shocked the surrounding cultivators greatly, and the peak corporeal Yang old man's expression became extremely gloomy. He could feel that the other party's cultivation level was about same as his and that he slightly exceeded it. However, that strange spell that the other party used made him very scared. This is definitely not teleportation or greater teleportation. The old man's expression was gloomy as he touched his bag and took out a silver bell. He immediately shook the bell. The sound of the bell ringing caused a large ripple to spread. It interfered with the origin energy around the area. There are still 22 people. Wang Lin's body flickered and appeared behind a peak late-stage ascendant cultivator. As the cultivator's pupils shrank, Wang Lin raised his hand and used Heavenly Chop. There was no sword energy, but the cultivator's body was split in half and then collapsed. As for his origin soul, it wasn't strong enough to catch Wang Lin's eye, but it was still taken by the soul flag. At the same time, Wang Lin looked gloomily at the old man ringing the bell. That treasure was a bit strange. It was able to disrupt the origin energy around the area. Although it didn't affect Wang Lin much, if it continued, it might slow Wang Lin down. With a cold snort, a shadow flickered behind Wang Lin and Ta Shan stepped out. Ta Shan completely ignored the surrounding cultivators and charged toward the old man. As Ta Shan flew out, his right hand formed a fist and he threw a punch. His punch broke the sound barrier and rushed toward the old man. The battle with the two was extremely fierce and explosions echoed everywhere. The old man kept retreating as he used various spells, but his expression was extremely gloomy. Any spell and treasure that landed on Ta Shan had no effect on him. It was as if he knew no pain and had a body of steel, and he continued to attack. At the moment Ta Shan rushed out, Wang Lin took a step out. This time he didn't merge with the world, but opened his mouth to allow the celestial ceiling stamp to fly out. It expanded until it was 100 feet wide, and then mercilessly smashed down. The celestial ceiling stamp caused a loud roar as it smashed down. The expressions of the two cultivators under it changed and they wanted to escape. However, just then Wang Lin said, "Seal," and large amount of seals flew off the celestial ceiling stamp. This immediately sealed all of the two cultivators' escape methods. At the same time, the stamp landed and their bodies were smashed with a bang. Even their origin souls were broken, but they didn't dissipate. Instead, there was a flash of golden light, and their origin souls were taken by the celestial sealing stamp. Among the hundreds of thousands of golden runes on the celestial sealing stamp, 2 of them became even brighter than before. It was as if they had become alive, and they were obviously different from the others. Wang Lin was a bit surprised. He didn't think the celestial sealing stamp would have such a strange effect, but it was obviously not the time to be thinking about it. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he sneered and his body disappeared, causing all of the attacks coming at him to miss. His grim sneer caused the surrounding cultivators to feel a chill in their hearts. Aside from the old man battling with XIAN, there were still 7 peak late-stage ascendant cultivators left. At this moment they were truly frightened, and Sumu's prestige filled with hearts. Rumors of Sumu echoed in their hearts. The 7 panicked and then began to retreat and teleport away. They felt a lot of regret. They shouldn't have listened to the order of the Yao family to intercept Sumu. You can't escape. Wang Lin's divine sense echoed across the void. At the same time, the origin energy within the area began to distort like crazy. The 7 of them were forced out of the void from their teleportations. Wang Lin's figure rushed out like a ray of light and he passed by all 7 of them in a flash. Large amounts of blood sprayed out as Wang Lin moved through the 7 of them. There was a series of popping sounds when each of their bodies collapsed and they died. In the distance, Wang Lin paused and licked his lips. His eyes had turned red from the killing intent and he looked like a bloodthirsty demon. He stared at the cultivators not far away and softly said, "There are still 13 left." Those 13 cultivators' expressions turned pale and gloomy. They all looked at Wang Lin, and in their eyes Wang Lin was like a wolf. Sumu's fame appeared in their hearts. One of the illusory Yin cultivators clenched his teeth and his hand immediately formed a seal. The origin energy inside his body cycled and white light appeared before him. In a flash, the white light turned into a large sword before he coughed out essence origin energy. The large sword immediately became fierce, as if it could pierce the void. A majority of the cultivators around him also let out roars. In particular, the last corporeal young cultivator slapped his bag of holding, causing countless black needles to appear. He pointed at Wang Lin and all the needles flew toward Wang Lin. Behind him, the remaining cultivators all used their spells and rushed in without any hesitation. They were very fast and closed in almost an instant. Killing intent flashed across Wang Lin's eyes as he took a step back and disappeared without a trace. Just at the moment he disappeared, the corporeal young cultivator immediately opened his arms and shouted, "Teleport and disrupt the natural force in the area." Once he shouted this, all of the cultivators teleported in place. Once they started to teleport, their figures began to flicker in and out of existence. At the same time, a powerful ripple spread more than 1,000 feet, and the space around the area began to twist. Very smart, but not enough. Wang Lin took a step. It was as if the ripple had no effect on him. When he appeared, he pressed his finger down on a cultivator who had decisively given up his body and escaped with his origin soul. This cultivator's body exploded in a mist of blood. As for his origin soul, it had already escaped more than 1,000 feet away and didn't look back. As the origin soul escaped, he shouted, "Fellow cultivator Sumu, from now on, no family on planet Lingming will participate in the matter between you and the Yao family. Please let me go." Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he didn't chase. At this moment, the corporeal young cultivator let out a roar and the black needles let out a black glow. They stabbed toward Wang Lin like rain. While Wang Lin sneered, he lifted his right hand and the withered Dao pair appeared. An evil aura filled the air and gray light appeared on the black needles. In an instant they turned into stone. At the same time, gray light appeared at the feet of 3 people, including the corporeal young cultivator. Wang Lin stepped forward and pointed at each of their foreheads. Their bodies all exploded and they died. Still 9 left. Wang Lin's voice was filled with endless coldness. While all the cultivators were filled with terror, he disappeared once more. At this moment, aside from the old man, who was still battling XIAN, the remaining 8 people didn't hesitate to give up. Compared to the benefits the Yao family promised, their lives were much more important. It was clear Sumu was not someone they could fight against. Just by using that strange spell, no matter how many they had, Su Mu would remain invincible. Unless their cultivation levels were extremely high, it would be very difficult to kill Su Mu. The 8 people didn't hesitate. They quickly retreated and went in 8 different directions. Not only did the killing intent in Wang Lin's eyes not reduce, it became even stronger. His aura was like a flood as the 8 people escaped. He took a step forward and disrupted the fluctuations of origin energy around the area, causing the 8 of them unable to be teleport for a quick escape. With a thought, the celestial ceiling stamp chased after one person. As for the Wither Dao pair, it charged after one person as well. At the same time, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and the celestial sword appeared. Su Ligua appeared, and without Wang Lin giving any command, he let out a strange cry as he changed after one of the escaping cultivators. Su Ligua had some fear in his heart. Although he had inherited the ancient sword intent, he had never fought an illusory cultivator. At this moment he was crying in his head. Damn it, going all out, going all out. 3 treasures started chasing after 3 different people. Wang Lin took a step forward and disappeared. In almost an instant, Wang Lin appeared beside an escaping cultivator. The cultivator's expression was filled with fear, and he was about to speak when Wang Lin pressed down between the person's eyebrows with his corporeal yang cultivation. As soon as he withdrew his finger, he disappeared again. A moment later, the celestial ceiling stamp and Wither Dao pair returned as well. Only Su Ligua hadn't returned. He cursed while controlling the celestial sword to attack. The illusory cultivator had an extremely gloomy expression. He didn't want to get entwined with this sword spirit. Seeing his escaping companions die one by one made the fear in his heart reach a limit. The curse from the sword spirit made him very annoyed. He activated the origin energy in his body and caused a collapse that knocked Su Ligua away. He didn't want to fight, and he flew away 1,000 feet and was about to teleport away. However, the moment he teleported, his pupils shrank as Wang Lin's fingers had already landed between his eyebrows. The person collapsed and his origin soul was captured. Wang Lin's expression was indifferent as his gaze swept past Su Ligua and he coldly said, "I don't need weaklings." Su Ligua's heart felt cold and he quickly patted his chest as he flattered, "Master, rest assured I." Without waiting for Su Ligua to finish speaking, Wang Lin was already rushing toward where Ta Shan was battling. "You're the only one left." A voice filled with killing intent spread like the wind. The old man battling Ta Shan revealed a bitter expression. Just at this moment, a thick ray of sword right rushed over with an aura as it was going to tear space itself open. The corporeal young old man battling Ta Shan relaxed a bit and thought, "The Yao family is finally here and I have completed my mission of intercepting Su Mu." A person appeared from inside the ray of sword energy. He was same young man that appeared when the middle-aged man crushed the jade. His eyes were filled with killing intent, and there was even a small amount of hidden excitement in them. "Su Mu, I didn't think that I, Yao Changdong, would meet you. I'll be able to obtain great merit for this." Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. When he was killing those people, he noticed that there was no one from the Yao family among them. They were merely tempted by the reward the Yao family offered. No matter how many of these people he killed, the Yao family wouldn't be hurt. If he really wanted to hurt the Yao family, he must kill Yao family members. Since the Yao family wants to kill me, then I'll first extinguish the Yao family members. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and the killing intent in them increased. The Yao family member rushing over had already broken through the Yin and Yang stage and was at the Nirvana Scryer stage. Early stage Nirvana Scryer, Wang Lin's eyes were filled with battle intent. Ever since he reached the corporeal Yang stage, he hadn't battled a real Nirvana Scryer cultivator. At this moment he was filled with killing intent, but at the same time, endless battle intent filled his heart as well. As the sword energy closed in, Wang Lin quickly rushed forward. He had to deal with this corporeal Yang cultivator before the other one arrived. If the two of them teamed up, Wang Lin would immediately be at a disadvantage. The corporeal young old man relaxed and didn't hesitate to retreat. He no longer wanted to battle Ta Shan, as he had completed his task. All he had to do was help the Yao family member complete his task and then obtain the reward. Just as he started retreating, Ta Shan chased after the old man under Wang Lin's order. His fist shined brightly as he continued to bombard the old man. A thunderous rumble echoed across the stars as the corporeal young old man kept retreating while using spells to block the blows. Wang Lin's eyes glowed red and he rushed toward the ray of sword energy that belonged to the Yao family member. He was like a meteor and he charged very far in a flash. Yao Changdong revealed a grin. There was even a hint of contempt on his face, and he flew even faster. When the corporeal young cultivator saw this scene, he felt peace of mind. However, he was still cautious as Wang Lin's strange movement had caused a chill to appear in his heart. Since that Yao family member has arrived, Sumu shouldn't have time to deal with me. The old man continued to retreat from Ta Shan's attacks. His eyes flickered as he looked at Wang Lin charging toward Yao Changdong. The farther he was from Wang Lin, the more relaxed he became. However, just at this moment, Ta Shan's body began to shine dozens of times brighter than before. This golden glow was too strong. If a mortal saw it, they would immediately go blind. Even cultivators would feel their eyes hurt. Although the old man was at the corporeal yang stage, he was too close to Ta Shan. At this moment, the old man's pupils shrank and he wasn't able to see clearly. Just as his divine sense was about to spread out, Ta Shan's fierce attack arrived, forcing the old man to focus on dealing with Ta Shan. Just at the moment the old man's eyes were blocked by the golden glow, Wang Lin took a step forward while charging toward Yao Changdong. Ripples appeared under his feet and Wang Lin disappeared. At the moment he disappeared, although the corporeal young old man couldn't see, his mind trembled and his eyes twitched. He didn't hesitate to activate the origin energy inside his body and push it out like crazy, forming a large amount of origin energy collapse. A vortex was formed from all the origin energy. However, it was still a step too late. Wang Lin's figure had appeared behind the old man right as the vortexes appeared. His fingers were filled with origin energy and he mercilessly attacked. The old man's origin energy vortex hadn't formed when Wang Lin's finger landed on the old man's back. The old man's face turned pale and he refrained himself from coughing out blood. As the origin energy swept through his body, he wanted to use Wang Lin's attack to escape. Just at this moment, Ta Shan's body shined brightly and the tattoo on his forehead melted into his right fist. Just as the old man was about to escape, Ta Shan's fist landed on him. This fist caused a series of sonic booms that echoed across the stars. The old man was worthy of being a peak corporeal yang cultivator. He spat out a mouthful or origin energy during this moment of crisis and created a shield. Ta Shan's fist landed on the shield, causing it to shatter, and the old man was thrown backwards. The old man's eyes were filled with resentment as he couldn't keep the blood back anymore, and coughed out a mouthful of blood. However, his body turned into a bloody shadow and he quickly merged with the blood before him. His figure became ghost-like and he somehow managed to escape from Wang Lin and Ta Shan's combined attack. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy. As the old man used the blood to escape, he raised his right hand and chopped down. The heavenly chop immediately shot out and the escaping blood shadow was split in half. The peak corporeal young old man let out a miserable scream. His origin soul was wrapped in a blood light and it escaped, abandoning his body. All of this happened in a flash. Wang Lin had no time to pursue, so he raised his hand and formed a seal. The celestial sealing stamp immediately appeared before him to form a shield. Yao Chandong's sword energy suddenly changed directions and landed directly on the celestial sealing stamp. When the celestial sealing stamp blocked it, an earth-shattering sound echoed across the area. Wang Lin's expression was normal, but the energy inside his body was rampaging. Under the impact of the sword energy, the celestial sealing stamp was forced back and Wang Lin was forced back with it. Only after he retreated 100 feet was he able to slow down. Yao family's third generation Yao Changdong. After the ray of light disappeared, a young man dressed in white looked proudly at Wang Lin. Under his feet was a 30-foot-long sword. Wang Lin had never seen such a large flying sword. It emitted a dense sword energy that could shatter space. Sumu, meeting me is your misfortune. If you had met another member of my Yao family, they may have accepted your pleas for forgiveness. However, before I Yao Changdong, your begging is useless. Yao Changdong looked extremely proud and thought, I have to finish this before Yao Bing gets here. Otherwise, the credit will be stolen by that cold woman. Wang Lin's expression was calm and eyes were cold. He had already noticed that the cultivators of the All-Heaven star system all had a high sense of pride. This kind of pride was formed by the cultivation family model here. This was very different from all the fighting and scheming in the Alliance star system. Wang Lin nodded slightly as he clasped his hands as if he was about to speak. However, at this moment, Essence Origin energy came out of his mouth to form an illusory sword that rushed toward Yao Changdong with extreme speed. At the same time, Wang Lin took a step forward and disappeared into the void. The sword formed by the Essence Origin energy was too fast and closed in on Yao Changdong in an instant. Yao Changdong's eyes lit up and he let out a cold snort. His right hand formed a seal and pressed forward. A flash of green light came from his hand, and it turned into a skull that attempted to devour the sword. Just as he rose his right hand, a ripple appeared behind him and Wang Lin stepped out. Wang Lin's 2 fingers pressed down. He didn't even look at the result and disappeared once more. Yao Changdong's expression became gloomy. The moment Wang Lin appeared, he suddenly turned around and 2 rays of light shot out from his eyes. However, the 2 lights didn't hit Wang Lin and flew through the void. Just at this moment, the celestial ceiling stamp suddenly began to rotate, and it smashed toward Yao Changdong with immense pressure. Hundreds of golden runes flashed on the celestial ceiling stamp and flew out one by one. The endless golden runes rushed toward Yao Changdong to seal him. Just as Yao Changdong looked up with a gloomy expression, Wang Lin once again appeared beside him and sent out a heavenly chop. Yao Changdong quickly turned but still missed. Wang Lin's figure was like a ghost as the celestial ceiling stamp smashed down. He would constantly appear next to Yao Changdong and only use one attack before disappearing again. As a result, Yao Changdong's expression became increasingly gloomy. Although Wang Lin's attacks weren't too strong for him, he still had to pay attention. Every time Wang Lin appeared, he would have to react immediately. However, he couldn't even touch Wang Lin's shadow. This kind of strange method of fighting made him very frustrated. Although Yao Changdong hadn't been in a lot of fights, the number was absolutely not little, but never had he had a fight like this. After Wang Lin spat out that mouthful of Essence Origin energy and he lifted his hand to dissipate it, he had lost his initiative. He had to constantly be on guard and could never take the initiative to attack. Just as he was about to recover and was ready to rush out to retaliate with his spell, the 100-foot stamp arrived. This made Yao Changdong even more irritated. At this moment, the rumbling sound became even stronger and countless golden runes flew toward him. There was also that ghostly figure that kept attacking him. Yao Changdong's eyes were filled with killing intent. His hand formed a seal and the large sword under him emitted powerful sword intent. The large sword split into 19 smaller swords that began to rotate to form a strange sword array. Then the sword array suddenly charged out. When the 19 swords charged out, dense origin energy spread out from the sword array, creating a storm. The sword formation spun around Yao Changdong, and the origin energy within the area began to twist and Wang Lin appeared 1,000 feet away. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he stared ahead. "Seal!" A shout came from Wang Lin. At the same time, more golden runes charged out even faster through the vortex formed by the sword array. The celestial ceiling stamp smashed down with a loud rumble. Inside the sword array, Yao Changdong's veins bulged. He suddenly raised his head and his hand formed a seal. The sword array spun even faster and he pointed upwards. The sword array immediately charged out and met the celestial ceiling stamp that was smashing down. There was a loud bang and the descending celestial ceiling stamp paused. Yao Changdong immediately took a step and was about to leave the range of the celestial ceiling stamp. However, just at this moment, XIAN appeared next to him and began a bombardment of punches. Killing intent flashed across Wang Lin's eyes as his right hand reached out and the celestial sword appeared in his grasp. Su Ligua had already returned to the sword. Wang Lin raised the celestial sword and the origin energy inside his body surged and mercilessly chopped down. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 10 times, 20 times. 20 heavenly chops consumed most of Wang Lin's origin energy. However, they instantly condensed into a huge ray of sword energy and flew out. The ray of sword energy that could destroy law and seem tear apart space itself, shot out toward Yao Changdong. Yao Changdong revealed a fierce expression as the sword array spun rapidly and collided with XIAN's fist. XIAN's face immediately became pale. but he didn't retreat and instead threw another punch. Just at this moment, the heavenly chop arrived and landed on the vortex around Yao Changdong. It broke through the vortex and charged toward Yao Changdong. At the same time, a large amount of golden runes charged in through the opening created by the heavenly chop and quickly sealed Yao Changdong. After using the heavenly chop, Wang Lin didn't stop. He took a step and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was above the celestial sealing stamp, and he sat down on it. Both of his hands formed a seal and he pressed down to the side. The celestial sealing stamp was filled with all of Wang Lin's origin energy, and it smashed down toward Yao Changdong. At this moment, the seal, the heavenly chop, Taxian's punch, and the celestial sealing stamp all rushed at Yao Changdong at the same time. When the celestial sealing stamp landed, there was a bang that echoed across the stars. The loud sound was so loud that everyone within tens of thousands of kilometers could hear this sound that was like a cultivation planet collapsing. The roar of anger exploded from under the celestial sealing stamp. A terrifying and suffocating aura suddenly began to spread like crazy. The moment the celestial sealing stamp smashed down, it was pushed away by this force. The countless golden runes were torn up by this force and were constantly forced back. Popping sounds came from Taxian's fist and his right fist was smashed. Even half of his body was affected by the ripple, and he was thrown far away. At this moment, the elegant and prideful Yao Changdong had vanished. His hair was disheveled, his clothes were in tatters, and his eyes were filled with anger. There was a fist-sized bead before his body. Calling it a bead was a bit inappropriate. It was more like the core of a cultivator. It was this core that absorbed all the attacks from before and allowed Yao Changdong to only be in a sorry state but not suffer the slightest injury. You are the second person that has forced me use the celestial pill the ancestor gave me. Yao Changdong almost gnashed his teeth. His killing intent for Wang Lin was no longer coming from the heaven order from the family, but the anger in his heart. He had never been in such a disadvantageous situation in his whole life. From the sneak attack at the start, he had no chance to retaliate and was forced to passively defend. Due to that strange spell, Yao Changdong was forced into a dangerous situation. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy. As he retreated, he slapped his bag of holding and immediately took out the soul flag. He immediately grabbed 2 illusory in origin souls and devoured them. As origin energy filled his body, he stared at the core before Yao Changdong and his eyes turned cold. Wang Lin held an advantage earlier and didn't allow Yao Changdong to retaliate at all. Everything was set up for the kill, but in the end it still failed. Wang Lin clearly understood the difference between corporeal yang and nirvana scryer cultivators now. Wang Lin was confident the situation he had set up could kill any corporeal yang cultivator, but Yao Changdong wasn't injured at all. Although that core played a large role, even if that core wasn't there, Yao Changdong must have had other spells. A family that has an inheritance from the celestial realm must have a lot of celestial spells. Yao Changdong's eyes revealed a fierce expression. His right hand formed a seal and the core began revolving around his body. At the same time, his left hand formed a seal and he shouted, "Celestial spell void collapse." Wang Lin didn't hesitate to retreat. As he retreated, the space where he was at collapsed and caused a powerful impact. This scene caused Wang Lin's pupils to shrink. Celestial spell, imagine collapse. Yao Changdong's hand formed a seal and he revealed a cruel expression. Violent collapses continued to echo. Wang Lin couldn't pause for a moment as the collapses chased closely after him. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy, but was also calm. Ripples appeared under his feet, and then he disappeared without a trace. He instantly appeared 100 feet behind Yao Changdong, and a heavenly chop flew at Yao Changdong. However, just as the heavenly chop closed in on Yao Changdong, the core suddenly appeared and collided with it. The moment it touched the heavenly chop, it absorbed the power of the heavenly chop. Celestial spell, 19 souls. Yao Changdong jerked around, revealed a grin, and spat out a mouthful of white mist. Bursts of miserable screams came from the mist. There were 19 babies inside the mist. These babies were completely black. They were monsters as they rushed toward Wang Lin along with the mist. There was a flash of cold light in Wang Lin's eyes. He took a step backwards and merged with the world. The 19 souls missed. Then they returned back to Yao Changdong and revolved around him. Yao Changdong's face revealed a fierce expression. He didn't hesitate to reach out toward the core and shout, "I'm willing to be punished by the ancestor for losing this core to break your spell." As he spoke, he crushed the core and a destructive aura spread out like a storm from the core. This force was too powerful as it spread. The origin energy within 100,000 feet began to twist and distort. The origin energy in the world was no longer in balance. It was as if a large pair of hands was constantly stirring it up. Anyone who was merged inside must leave as soon as possible, unless they had a spell to counteract the fluctuations. Wang Lin appeared 1,000 feet away. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he raised his right hand and pointed at the void. The withered Dao pair quickly appeared. The ferocious beast bone gave off a ghostly flash and a powerful evil aura filled the world. Yao Changdong's expression changed slightly and both of his hands formed a seal. The 19 babies began to spin rapidly around Yao Changdong and formed an illusion around Yao Changdong. This was an illusion of a large baby. After it appeared, it let out a roar. However, it only let out half a roar before its body was covered by gray light, and it turned into stone in an instant. Wang Lin took this opportunity to retreat, and immediately took out 2 illusory in-origin souls. After devouring them, he immediately raised his right hand and shouted, "Call the wind!" The black wind roared and gathered around his right hand. It instantly expanded and dense, black wind appeared around Wang Lin. Just at this moment, the petrified baby collapsed, and Yao Changdong walked out without any injuries. He stared at the black wind around Wang Lin and sneered, "Only this much power? Today will you without a doubt die." Just as he finished speaking, Wang Lin waved his hand and the black wind charged out. The black wind swept across the stars and turned into a black dragon. It opened its mouth and blasted out cold wind. Yao Changdong initially didn't consider the wind a threat, but his body felt cold and it felt like his origin soul was about to collapse. He immediately retreated in shock, but the black wind chased closely after him. Frightened, Yao Changdong saw that he was about to be surrounded by the black wind. But his hand quickly formed a seal and he shouted, "Celestial spell, Cloud Calamity." Thunderous rumbles appeared out of nowhere and clouds surrounded Yao Changdong. Lightning flashed between the clouds, forming a comprehensive shield. However, under the wind blasted out by the black dragon, the clouds dissipated, revealing the terrified Yao Changdong. What celestial spell is this? Yao Changdong's body trembled as he clenched his teeth and spat out a mouthful of essence origin energy. His right hand quickly moved over it and he shouted, "Blood Soul 6 cycles." After using this spell, Yao Changdong's expression turned pale. This Blood Soul celestial spell was imparted by the ancestor Blood God. It was said to be one of the greatest spells of their celestial ancestor. At its peak, it could reach 19 cycles, but with Yao Changdong's current cultivation level, he could only manage 6 cycles, and even then it would consume most of his origin energy. The blood quickly began to move and it formed a vortex before charging into the sky. Like a scarlet whirlwind, it created a powerful force that collided with the wind. The two forces quickly cancelled each other out. Yao Changdong stared at the flickering Wang Lin. He clenched his teeth as he slapped his bag of holding and a talisman appeared in his hand. "With the talisman the ancestor gave me, no matter how many spells you have, you will without a doubt die." He raised his hand and the talisman immediately flew out. There was a complex rune formed by red ink on the talisman. Yao Changdong's hand formed a seal as he bit his tongue and sprayed blood directly on the talisman. In an instant, the talisman was dyed blood red and the rune seemed to come to life. A strange light came from the talisman and a strange, green flame began to burn at the corner of the talisman. "Emperor Celestial Talisman. Kill this person." Yao Changdong pointed at Wang Lin, and his voice revealed his ferociousness. The talisman flashed and charged out. It penetrated through the blood soul vortex and the cold wind. It didn't suffer any damage and went straight toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's pupils suddenly shrank. He was very familiar with this talisman as it was almost identical to the two he had. At this moment, an aura that shocked Wang Lin's mind came from the talisman. This aura was extremely terrifying. "I can't resist." All the hair on Wang Lin's body stood up and he felt a sense of crisis envelop him. He retreated without hesitation, but not only did the talisman not scatter, it moved even faster. Under this moment of crisis, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding without hesitation and the god-slaying war chariot flew out. He pointed at Yao Changdong and then also took out a talisman. Copying Yao Changdong, he also bit the tip of his tongue and spat out essence blood. The essence blood caused the talisman to also shine and burned brightly. It collided with the talisman Yao Changdong threw out, and it set off a huge shockwave. The talisman Wang Lin threw out immediately collapsed and turned to dust. However, Yao Changdong's talisman didn't completely dissipate. A fingernail-sized portion still remained. It moved at an incredible speed and landed between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Wang Lin's body trembled. He felt heat from between his eyebrows as if a flame was burning. An unimaginable sealing power spread across his body like crazy. In the blink of an eye, his origin energy and origin soul were completely sealed. This is the Chosen Immortal Clan's tattoo power. But how can the tattoo of the Chosen Immortal Clan be so strong? Wang Lin sucked in a breath of cold air and his eyes were filled with terror. All of the origin energy inside his body was suddenly sealed. Right now he was like a mortal. His body immediately became very weak. If Ta Shan hadn't allowed Wang Lin to sit on his left arm, Wang Lin would have immediately fallen into the endless space. Beside him, the god-slaying war chariot turned into the butterfly. It gently flapped its wings and looked harmless. Yao Changdong laughed. Without origin energy, all of Wang Lin's treasures had lost their effect and Call the Wind had also disappeared. Yao Changdong's 2 fingers from his right hand formed a sword and he charged straight at Wang Lin. A mere corporeal young cultivator dares to fight with me? Su Mu Dai. As Yao Changdong laughed, his speed was shocking and he charged straight toward Wang Lin. His fingers were filled with origin energy, and if they landed on Wang Lin, not only would Wang Lin's body collapse, even his origin soul would be destroyed. Just as Yao Changdong closed in, the butterfly gently flapped its wings. Although it didn't have Wang Lin's origin energy anymore, it was obviously different from other treasures. Once it was activated, it could operate by itself. Yao Changdong's body paused and his chest exploded, causing him to be thrown backwards. He managed to stop himself after 100 feet, but the butterfly immediately flapped its wings once more. Yao Changdong's eyes were filled with killing intent. Just as the butterfly flapped its wings, he took out another talisman. This time he didn't throw it out and pressed it between his own eyebrows. A powerful fluctuation of tattoo power came out from the talisman and diffused into Yao Changdong's body. Soon, a large amount of tattoos appeared around Yao Changdong. Popping sounds echoed. Every time the butterfly flapped its wings, a large amount of tattoos would collapse. However, he continued to rush over and once again closed in on Wang Lin. I must kill Su Mu. He is only at the corporeal yang stage and is already so powerful. Once he reaches the Nirvana Scryer stage, I will not be his opponent. Wang Lin sat in the lotus position on Ta Shan's left arm. Ta Shan continued to retreat, trying to create some distance between them and Yao Changdong. However, Yao Changdong was too fast. He closed in with all the tattoos exploding. The killing intent disappeared and was replaced with calmness. He closed his eyes and muttered, "My domain was originally life and death and then karma. Things in the world can escape life and death, but they can't escape karma." There was a power that didn't need origin energy to use. It was not a treasure, but a cultivator's Tao. It could also be considered a belief, a comprehension. Wang Lin's comprehension after 1,000 years of cultivation was his domain. At this moment of life and death, Wang Lin used his domain, which he hadn't used in a long time. The battle of domains was the battle of Tao. The battle of Tao was ever-changing. There was no victory or defeat in the battle of Tao, only life and death. Wang Lin spread out his arms and calmly said, "My left hand holds the karmic cause of the world. My right hand holds the karmic effect of the world. This is karma, my karma." He opened his eyes. His left eye contained a sun and his right eye contained a moon. He looked at Yao Changdong and pointed at him. Karmic cause appear. When his domain appeared, the stars no longer existed. It was as if everything had disappeared. And Yao Changdong's body suddenly stopped. He couldn't help but stop. At this moment, Wang Lin's figure grew infinitely. It was as if there was a whip in Wang Lin's hand, and the 2 ends of the whip connected to form a circle. That circle was karma. Yao Changdong had a strong feeling that if he stepped out, he would inevitably fall into the Wang Lin's domain. Even if he managed to kill Wang Lin, he would be trapped in this domain. He feared he would be forever trapped inside karma and would never awaken. The battle of Tao could only be fought with Tao. However, it was rare for people to be able to fully display their Tao. It could be said that only very few could. This had nothing to do with cultivation but comprehension. A comprehension of the world, a comprehension of life, and a comprehension of one's own Tao. Yao Changdong would never have thought that this Sumu could display his own Tao. His expression was gloomy, but he didn't retreat. Instead, he sat down less than 30 feet from Wang Lin and closed his eyes. A golden shadow suddenly appeared above his head. This golden shadow had the aura of a celestial and was very elegant. It was obvious it was a celestial. Struggle as you die. I'll let you see my Yao family's Tao. The Yao family are descendants of celestials. Although celestial don't have domains, my family turned the glory of being their descendant into our domain. The glory of our celestial ancestors is the Tao of our Yao family. The shadow of the celestial gradually condensed above Yao Changdong and eventually walked out. It stepped toward the circle formed by Wang Lin's domain. My family believes in the glory of our ancestor. All other domains will break under the glory of our ancestor. Yao Changdong's face was filled with reverence, and his fanaticism caused the celestial to become even more corporeal. That's glory of the past. What of it now? All things are linked to karma. The celestial's glory is the karmic cause. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he lowered his left hand and raised his right hand. The karmic effect was the collapse of the celestial realm. Wang Lin lightly gripped his right hand and said, "You take pride in glory, but can your Tao escape karma?" The karma circle before Wang Lin began to rotate, creating a vortex. Outside the vortex was karmic cause, and inside the vortex was karmic effect. The celestials perished because they couldn't escape karma. Their descendants also can't escape karma. Your Tao is extremely fragile. So what if you have thousands of celestial spells in that Tao of glory? How laughable! Wang Lin shook his head. He had seen through the other party's Tao. To use something as illusory as glory for Tao and reverence for domain, even if it reached its peak, it couldn't escape the shadow of their ancestors. The karma circle suddenly flew out and charged at the shadow of the celestial. When it closed in, it stopped. Celestials didn't cultivate domains. Using their powerful celestial spiritual energy to open up the heavens was a grave mistake. Otherwise, why would the celestial realm have collapsed? Even with how powerful the celestial emperor was, he still went mad when he went against the heavens and he died. How strong was your ancestor compared to the celestial emperor? The celestial emperor not cultivating a domain was the karmic cause, and his madness that caused his death was the karmic effect. Your family's celestial statue and cultivation can't match the celestial emperor. Not cultivating a domain and forcibly taking power from the heavens caused your ancestor to perish. This is karma. In my opinion, your glory is empty. If they were destroyed by the heavens, where is the glory? Yao Changdong, the domain you cultivated and the Tao you believe in are all empty. Your celestial ancestor died, but rather than seeking the reason, you decided to cultivate their glory. Not only is your Tao empty, but even your Yao family ancestors' Tao is also empty. In the end, your Yao family will perish. Yao Changdong's eyes were filled with anger, and he coughed out a large mouthful of blood as his mind was injured. Wang Lin's words were like sharp swords that pierced his heart, leaving him unable to refute. After listening to these words, there was even a trace of hesitation in his heart. The shadow of the celestial outside the karma circle became blurry, as if it would disappear at any moment. You take pride in your glory and use that glory as your Tao. Your glory is only your own illusion. Have you truly seen the glory of your ancestor or felt the glory of your ancestor? Everything was just made up by you, it is all empty. You're at the early stage of nirvana, Scryer. But you don't have the slightest understanding of your own Tao. All of it was born from an illusion, so how can it fight against me? My Tao has changed greatly through my experiences in life. The pain of parting relatives, the hatred from slaughter, the bitterness of the death of a loved one, and wiping the resentment from my dead son. I became aware of the life and death domain and understood the world. Although I understand that things that should disappear, I walk against the heavens and refuse to be controlled by fate. This allowed me to complete my life and death domain. Then my domain changed and I comprehended the karma domain. And your domain was only a false glory. This glory has long perished with your ancestor and vanished with the collapse of the celestial realm. Yao Changdong, you are gravely mistaken. Yao Changdong's body trembled once more, and he coughed out another large mouthful of blood. There was no trace of blood on his face. He was like a dead man, and his eyes were filled with confusion. The shadow of the celestial outside the karma circle became even more blurry. Wang Lin shouted as his eyes revealed a strange light. Your Yao family wanting to kill me is karmic cause, and your Tao broken by my karma domain is karmic effect. Why hasn't your glory domain broken before my karma domain? Yao Changdong's body trembled and the shadow of the celestial above him shattered completely. As it collapsed, everything returned to normal and the stars appeared once more. To Yao Changdong, it was as if years had passed. Wang Lin's karma domain also dissipated. The remaining piece of talisman between his eyebrows had collapsed in the battle of Tao. Origin energy filled his body and he rushed out. At this moment, the butterfly next to him gently flapped its wings. Yao Changdong's body collapsed and even his bag of holding collapsed under this destructive power. All traces of him were erased from the world. When Wang Lin's origin energy returned, his face turned pale and coughed out a mouthful of blood. A battle of Tao was too dangerous, so he really didn't want to use it unless it was the last resort. One's Tao was definitely not as fragile as he said. It was just that Yao Changdong's Tao heart was unstable because he hadn't experienced enough life. He was like a sheltered flower that hadn't been tested by real wind and rain. Compared to him, the cultivators at the same cultivation level in the Alliance star system were far stronger. After all, in the Alliance star system you had to rely on yourself. What about a teacher? They couldn't protect you at all. If you were a bit careless, you would die. It was the law of the jungle, and slaughter was the law of the heavens. Aside from a few limited people, the cultivators of the All-Heaven star system couldn't even imagine the darkness of the Alliance star system. If you placed them in the Alliance star system, it would be hard for these people to survive. Unless their cultivation was powerful enough to ignore all rules. After taking a deep breath, Wang Lin withdrew his treasures and Ta Shan returned to his shadow. He dragged his frail body, but the killing intent in his eyes was even stronger. Yao family, if you want to kill me, you must pay the price. Wang Lin took a step with a fierce and cold gaze. Ripples appeared under his feet as he merged with the world and disappeared without a trace. However, just as he disappeared, a ripple appeared nearby and a cold woman wearing white walked out. She was very beautiful and could be considered perfect. Her cold expression, while it would cause people to retreat, would also make their hearts beat faster. She frowned slightly and with a step she disappeared as she merged with the world and chased after Wang Lin. At this moment in the eastern domain on a blood-red planet, there was a huge ancestral temple and a fierce Yao was carved onto a large piece of wood. There was an old man sitting inside the temple. His eyebrows were bent and were scarlet red. Behind him were tokens. Each of them gave off rich origin energy. At this moment, one of the tokens at the bottom cracked and then split in half. The old man slowly opened his eyes. He looked at the shattered token and muttered, "One finally died. Wang Lin from the Alliance star system, I want to see how many you can kill. Don't disappoint this old man, the blood god." The old man's eyes gave off a gloomy gaze. He raised his right hand and with a point of his finger, white gas flew out from the token and entered his sleeves. "Continue to kill." Ripples appeared in a bright and starry area of the All-Heaven star system. Wang Lin's steps were staggered and his face was pale. The battle with Yao Changdong was too dangerous. Had he been a bit careless, he would have died. Yao Changdong was worthy of being a real early-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivator. The gap between us was really big. However, if I was at the Nirvana Scryer stage, killing him wouldn't have been difficult. Wang Lin's eyes were fierce. He couldn't remain merged with the world for too long. Now that he had appeared, he quickly flew. After a few breaths of time, he merged with the world again without hesitation. Right now I need to find a place to recover. Once I've recovered, I'll go give the Yao family more trouble. The moment Wang Lin's figure disappeared, ripples appeared and the cold beauty walked out. After she appeared, she frowned, looked at where Wang Lin disappeared and softly said, "Using spatial bending twice in a row, This Sumu's grasp of the world's origin energy is very strong. If there was someone familiar with the Yao family here, they would recognize her. Her name was Yao Bingyun, and in the Eastern Domain she was considered one of the 3 phoenixes. Ice Phoenix Yao Bingyun. She could be considered top 3 in terms of cultivation level among the Yao family's 3rd generation. Her expression was always cold. Even when facing her own family members, she still spoke indifferently. Her talent was not great within the Yao family, but her pursuit of Tao was beyond imagination. In order to pursue her own Tao, after she reached the ascendant stage, she began cultivating the celestial spell Soul Seal. This celestial spell sealed the origin soul's senses. Your eyes wouldn't be able to see, your mouth wouldn't be able to speak, your ears wouldn't be able to hear, and your nose wouldn't be able to smell. It was considered one of the 3 great forbidden spells of the Yao family. Very few people were able to remain calm enough themselves to cultivate it. The most important reason this was considered a forbidden spell was because if you were a bit careless while cultivating this spell, you would be trapped in the seal and die. Throughout the ages, many Yao family members died cultivating this spell, so gradually fewer and fewer people cultivated it. Yao Bingyun remained in this state and went into closed-door cultivation for 500 years on the Yao family's ice planet. After leaving closed-door cultivation, she became even more cold, as if she was a piece of never-melting ice. Wherever she went, she would bring a chill. Her life was dedicated to Tao, and her determination was unimaginable. Among the Yao family's 3rd generation, only 2 people had grasped spatial bending. Yao Bingyun was one of them, and she had a deeper understanding than the other person. After withdrawing her gaze, she took a step forward and continued to chase with a cold expression. This chase lasted for 10 days. Wang Lin eventually realized that something was wrong and became even more cautious. During these 10 days, Yao Bingyun chased closely after him. Originally, given her temper, she wouldn't be involved in this family matter. If she had the time, she'd rather spend it in closed-door cultivation to comprehend the heavens. However, the Yao family ancestor, Blood God, had said something when he released the heaven order. Anyone who personally killed Sumu could use the entire force of the Yao family to do one thing. This was the root of why Yao Bingyun had decided to act. "Sister, I must save you." Yao Bingyun bit her lower lip as she disappeared into the void and continued to chase. During these 10 days of time, the news of Sumu's appearance quickly spread, especially how several families had formed a team of 28 to intercept him. In the end, Sumu killed 26 people and only 2 had managed to escape. This incident set off a huge stir. Some of the people who had somewhat forgotten Sumu's name remembered all the rumors about Sumu in the Thunder Celestial Realm. What shocked everyone more was that among the 28 people, there were 3 corporeal Yang, 9 illusory Yin, and 16 peak ascendant cultivators. With this team, Sumu was still able to easily slaughter them. Even among the 2 that managed to survive, when one of them returned, he immediately announced that his cultivation family and planet would not participate in the matter between Sumu and the Yao family. The other person was a corporeal Yang cultivator. He was in an even worse state and his origin soul was damaged. Once he returned, he immediately went into closed-door cultivation and also announced he would not participate in this matter. This series of news completely awakened the memories of Sumu from the minds of the cultivators of the All-Heaven star system. At almost the same time, the news of the Yao family's 3rd generation Yao Changdong, an early-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivator, being killed by Sumu was leaked. It set off a storm that swept the All-Heaven star system. Under the Yao family's heaven order, the person that was sent to kill was killed instead. Aside from shocking the cultivators, it made them remember the name Sumu even more. Similarly, the Yao family responded very quickly. Many family members and the cultivation families they contacted quickly gathered toward the Western Domain. There was so many people that they formed a blockade that continued to tighten as they close in on the area. At this moment, Wang Lin was very cautious while he continued to merge with the world. He didn't do any long-range movement in an attempt to lose the person who could also merge with the word that was chasing him. Although he had not seen the pursuer, the feeling of being chasing was extremely profound. Wang Lin decided to merge with the world and not come up. Instead, he kept changing directions. As a result, they were competing to see who had a deeper understanding. Whoever had a deeper understanding could remain merged with the world longer. If the other person comes out first, Wang Lin will have the initiative and will not let them perceive his location. Wang Lin experienced being merged with the world for a long time when Master Flamespark took control of his body. Right now he clenched his teeth and was able to remain merged with the world. Time slowly passed. Although Yao Bingyun's comprehension was profound, it couldn't compare with what Wang Lin had experienced. After the 16th day, she couldn't endure it any longer and appeared from the void. The moment she appeared, Wang Lin, who she had locked onto with her divine sense while merged with the world, disappeared. Yao Bingyun's expression was calm as her hand touched a bag and a small mirror immediately appeared. Her left hand formed a seal as if she was predicting something. After a short while, she merged with the world again. Wang Lin's figure appeared next to an abandoned cultivation planet between the border of the western and northern domains. When he appeared, his face was without any color. After all, he had been seriously injured and then forced to run for a long time. In addition, he had to be merged with the world for a long period of time, thus making his injuries worse. At this moment, his eyes lit up, and after he determined that his pursuer had been completely left behind, he let out a sigh of relief. The Yao family must have already launched their plan. From now on, every step will be difficult. Wang Lin's body flickered as he charged toward the abandoned cultivation planet. There was no spiritual energy coming from the planet and there were ruins everywhere. It was obvious it had been countless years since the planet was in its prime. Wang Lin found a basin on this planet, and after sitting down he slapped his bag of holding. The soul flag immediately flew out and turned into black mist that filled the area. After placing down many restrictions, he closed his eyes. Behind him, XIAN walked out from his shadow and sat down beside him. XIAN's right arm was broken. His body was filled with scars, and he looked dispirited. Wang Lin knew that he was pressed for time. He had to quickly heal his injuries so he could remain at peak state. Only then would he be able to survive. While cultivating, Wang Lin raised his right hand and reached toward the black mist. An illusory in-origin soul was immediately caught. Before the soul could beg for mercy, Wang Lin crushed it and devoured the origin energy. A moment later, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he grabbed another origin soul and devoured it. He operated the energy inside his body and continued to absorb it. After 6 hours and 4 origin souls, a powerful wave of origin energy surged inside Wang Lin's body. He opened his eyes, which were filled with killing intent. Then his right hand reached out and many bags of holding appeared. These bags of holding belonged to the people he killed. Without thinking much, Wang Lin erased the divine sense on each of them and took out all the treasures. He crushed them all and fused the melted liquid into XIAN. There were all sorts of treasures within these bags. At this moment, they were all crushed by Wang Lin to repair XIAN's body. After 2 more days passed, XIAN's bones had recovered. Although he was still a bit weak, it was no longer a serious issue. Killing intent flashed across Wang Lin's eyes as he flew into the air. XIAN quickly followed and merged into Wang Lin's shadow. At the moment Wang Lin flew into the air, his right hand reached out. The black mist quickly gathered and formed a large flag in his hand. With a shake of his hand, Wang Lin put it back into his bag. Just at this moment, Yao Bingyun's charming figure appeared outside the planet Wang Lin was recovering on. Her face was cold as she took out a mirror and looked at it. The image inside the mirror was Wang Lin flying into the sky. His expression was cold as she lifted her hand and pressed down on the mirror with her finger. However, the mirror shattered before her finger could press down. A killing intent came out from the planet, and the center of it all was Wang Lin. He was like an unsheathed sword as he charged out from the planet. Balls of purple thunder surrounded Wang Lin and made him even faster. In the blink of an eye, he charged out from the planet and headed straight for Yao Bingyun. Yao Bingyun's expression was still calm, and she stared at the rapidly approaching Wang Lin. She lifted her hand and pointed with her finger. Blue ice crystals rapidly condensed on her finger. Yao Bingyun softly said, "Ice break." With the point of her finger, a cold aura spread out like crazy. As crackling sounds echoed, the space began to freeze starting from Yao Bingyun's finger and quickly spread. Wang Lin's pupils shrank, but he didn't retreat. All the thunder in his body spread out and collided with the encroaching ice. Boom, boom, boom. A series of earth-shattering sounds echoed across the area. All of Wang Lin's balls of thunder collapsed and the encroaching ice paused slightly. Just at this moment, there was a flash from Wang Lin's shadow as XIAN stepped out. He raised his unjuried left fist and didn't hesitate to punch the ice. At the same time, Wang Lin raised his right hand and call the wind quickly appeared. The black wind formed and flew toward Yao Bingyun. Wang Lin was always ruthless toward his enemy, regardless of whether they were men or women. The black wind swept the area, causing the ice to immediately collapse and dissipate. XIAN's fist charged straight toward Yao Bingyun after the ice collapsed. Yao Bingyun's expression was still cold without any change. The moment XIAN closed in, she opened her mouth quietly and said, "Blood collapse." XIAN suddenly trembled and a large amount of blood suddenly came out from his body from a blood mist. He wasn't able to throw that punch at all before being pushed back by a powerful force. He quickly returned back into Wang Lin's shadow. In this instant, Wang Lin also felt a strange power condensing from all directions. This power caused all the blood in his body to flow more rapidly. It was as if his blood was going to boil and rush out of his body. Killing intent flashed across his eyes and Wang Lin gripped his hand. The black wind immediately condensed into a black dragon. The black dragon blasted cold air at Yao Bingyun. Yao Bingyun's expression changed for the first time. She stared at the cold wind coming from the black dragon and her hands quickly formed a seal. Just at this moment, Wang Lin took a step backwards and merged with the world. His enemy could also merge with the world, so the battle tactic he used before had no effect on this woman. Wang Lin revealed a decisive gaze. He couldn't beat her, so he simply decided to quickly flee. Wang Lin took a step backwards and ripples appeared under his feet and he disappeared. Yao Bingyun wanted to chase, but the cold wind blasted by the black dragon was beyond her expectations. Even when she merged with the world, she wasn't able to avoid it. Yao Bingyun's face was filled with coldness as her hand formed a seal and a blue core immediately appeared before her. The core was very bright and its color was vibrant. The moment it appeared, it was met with the cold wind. After a series of crackling sounds, the cold wind disappeared. However, the blue core had dimmed as if it had lost its spirit. Yao Bingyun's expression turned gloomy and she grabbed the blue core. She stared at where Wang Lin disappeared and continued to chase. Ever since she began cultivating, she had never met someone so difficult to deal with. Even with her relentless pursuit, she still hadn't managed to prevent the other party from escaping. At this moment, Yao Bingyun had a cold expression. Her divine sense spread out while she was merged with the world to look for fluctuations. After Wang Lin merged with the world, he charged directly toward the northern domain. He had a big plan. There was a river of stars between the western and northern domains. Once you passed through this area, you would enter the northern domain. However, there were countless cultivators at the border to the western domain. At this moment, there was also a large amount of cultivators gathering in the western domain. Aside from the Yao family members, a large amount of people were brought by the Yao family. The cultivators from the western domain accounted for more than half of the cultivators here. These people were determined that Wang Lin would without a doubt die, so they were naturally not worried about Wang Lin's retaliation. They were all mobilized for Yao family's reward. In truth, there weren't many people from the Yao family. There were countless people blocking the area, and some people were constantly disrupting the origin energy in the area to prevent people from passing. Wang Lin's body appeared 5,000 kilometers away from the River of Stars, and he stared gloomily at the scene before him. Even from this far away, he could feel a powerful ripple. With this many cultivators disrupting the origin energy in the area, even if he merged with the world, he couldn't ensure that he could safely pass through. Once he was forced to appear midway and was attacked by all the cultivators, Wang Lin knew he would die. Yao family! Wang Lin clenched his teeth. Then he turned around and disappeared. Just at this moment, a few divine senses quickly rushed over, and one of them didn't hesitate to disrupt the origin energy in the area. There were roars from the distance as a large amount of cultivators rushed over. The origin energy was disrupted, causing Wang Lin's body to appear 10,000 feet away. His expression became even more gloomy and he quickly escaped. Sumu is here! Sumu is here, kill! Sumu, he is Sumu! Shouts came from all directions and cultivators wearing all kinds of clothes charged toward him. What was ridiculous was that there was no one from the Yao family among them. The real Yao family members were in the back, coldly watching everything. It was hard to say who was more intelligent. From the Yao family's perspective, using rewards to exchange for the help of various cultivation families could save them a lot of energy. From the view of the cultivation families, it was the same. Since a lot of cultivation families had joined, then Sumu would without a doubt die. As long as they joined the fight, they would gain benefits, and if they killed Sumu, they would gain more benefits. Therefore, why not act? As Wang Lin continued to retreat, a large amount of ripples appeared under his feet. His gaze was cold as he swept the people chasing him and engraved their appearances in his mind. As the various spells and treasures of those cultivators closed in, Wang Lin disappeared as he merged with the world. Although there was a lot of disruption of origin energy in front of him, if Wang Lin retreated rather than move forward, there wouldn't be much interference. Yao family, if I don't get my revenge, I can't call myself a heaven-defying cultivator. There are also those cultivation families that are helping the Yao family. If it weren't for them being lured by the reward, the Yao family couldn't form an encirclement like this. Wang Lin sneered as he disappeared. When the cultivators who rushed over saw Wang Lin's sneer, they felt a chill in their hearts. This powerful killing intent and expression only meant that Wang Lin was about to start a slaughter. Since you all want to seal me, then come. Wang Lin merged with the world and quickly retreated. At this moment, Yao Bingyun's aura quickly locked on to Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent as he retreated. His figure appeared once more in the western domain, and there was a cultivation planet before him. Wang Lin didn't know its name, but after he appeared, he took a step forward and scanned it with his divine sense. There weren't any cultivators above the peak of the late stage of Ascendant on this planet. This was a clear sign. With how rich the spiritual energy of this cultivation planet was, it was impossible not to have an illusory XIAN cultivator or above. These people must have been participating in the group that was hunting him. In truth, Wang Lin's guess was extremely accurate. At a time like this, if large amount of illusory XIAN cultivators were missing, this was the only answer. The killing intent in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger as he rushed out. Whenever he encountered a cultivator at the soul transformation stage or above, he would flick his finger without hesitation. If you participate in the matter between me and the Yao family, then you must be wary of my revenge. If I don't force these families away, then only more of them will participate in this matter. The only way to deal with this matter is to shock them, and the best way to shock them is to slaughter their planets. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent. He was not a kind person, and at this moment he was trapped in the western domain by the Yao family and these cultivators. If he didn't become more merciless, then once they closed in, all he would be able to do was wait for his death. Moreover, what made Wang Lin more anxious was the Yao families and the other families' true experts. Even one cultivator that had stepped into the Nirvana Scryer stage would be difficult for Wang Lin to resist. The reason why planet Donglin was so famous and why people's minds would tremble whenever its name was mentioned was because whenever the descendants of that generation appeared, anyone that provoked that person would have their planet slaughtered. Only by making them pay the price of blood would they all remember. Wang Lin originally didn't want to do this, but right now he was forced to do this. Only by doing this could he make all the cultivation families that participated due to the reward retreat. There were no cries. Wang Lin moved across the planet like a whirlwind that took away lives. After less than the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, he merged with the world and disappeared. He left this cultivation planet with only rivers of blood, and not a single cultivator above the soul transformation stage remained. As for mortals, Wang Lin didn't hurt even one of them. Wang Lin also knew that the people below the soul transformation stage couldn't participate in this matter, so he didn't act against them. Before he left, he raised his hand and pressed down on the ground. After a violent rumble, 2 large words appeared on the ground. Sumu. After Wang Lin left, ripples immediately appeared and Yao Bingyun walked out. When she saw the cultivation planet, her expression became extremely gloomy. Then killing intent flashed across her eyes and she continued to chase. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot when he appeared in different places throughout the western domain. Every time he appeared, there would be a planet next to him. If all of the illusory XIAN cultivators were there, he would turn around and leave. However, if there were no Illusory cultivators on the planet, it meant they were involved in his pursuit, so a bloodbath would unfold on the planet. You all forced me. You all chasing to kill me for no reason other than the Yao family's reward is the karmic cause. Me slaughtering your planet is the karmic effect. Wang Lin didn't like to kill, but now he was being forced to and he had no other choice. In the short span of 30 days, a bloody storm swept across the Western domain. News that angered all of the cultivators but also frightened them at the same time spread out. Dozens of cultivation planets had all soul transformation and above cultivators slaughtered. The only thing left was the two words Sumu, deeply engraved on the ground. This was naked revenge. This was a complete revenge against the families involved. This kind of behavior was on the demonic path. Master Demon. No one knew who said it first, but this title was placed on Wang Lin. You must pay a price to participate in the matter between me and the Yao family. This naked revenge quickly escalated. It was like a bolt of thunder that struck the cultivators hunting Wang Lin and made their minds tremble. The fact that Wang Lin didn't kill soul transformation or below cultivators meant that Wang Lin was still leaving them a way out. However, the bloody meaning behind this action was self-evident. If they continue to participate in this matter, then those below the soul transformation stage will be killed. Countless angry storms immediately erupted. The cultivators whose families were slaughtered seemed to have gone crazy. They didn't retreat and vowed to seek revenge on Sumu. However, even more cultivation families became hesitant, especially the cultivation families from the Western domain. It wasn't certain who had taken the lead, but soon they all quietly left and returned to their cultivation planets. Suddenly, the blockade in the Western domain suddenly thinned down. Numerous cultivation families evaluated Wang Lin's bloody revenge, and after a long time, they slowly retreated. After all, making their juniors face death just for some benefits from the Yao family was beyond their bottom line. More importantly, Wang Lin's actions caused these cultivators whose core interests were their families feel a chill in their hearts. They could feel the madness from Wang Lin. If they continued, they weren't sure what he would do. Aside from the families of the Western domain, the families of the other domains began to hesitate, but not many left. After all, their families were not in the Western domain. To them, this Sumu would certainly die and he was merely struggling before his death. No matter how much he struggled, he was still in the Western domain. Since he couldn't leave, there was no need to speak of revenge. Although this was the case, Wang Lin could clearly feel that the pressure of the blockade in the Western domain had lessened. However, during this period of time, he could also feel that the woman who could merge with the world was getting closer and closer. There were a few times where she almost caught up. Wang Lin frowned hard. The other party's pursuit was far too close. The space in the Western domain that Wang Lin could move in also rapidly shrank. If he couldn't find a way to charge out, he would be put in a dangerous spot. Wang Lin's figure appeared among the stars and he frowned. The killing intent that had condensed over these days was very strong. It was almost as if it could turn corporeal. That woman chasing me is at least at the mid-stage of Nirvana Scryer. I can't kill her with my own power, so it is a bit troublesome. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he disappeared. Just as he disappeared, Yao Bingyun stepped out from the void. Her face was filled with killing intent, and after looking into the distance she coldly said, "You can't escape." She took a step and merged with the world to chase after Wang Lin. Wang Lin merged with the world with the intent to lose Yao Bingyun. With her chasing him, he couldn't leave at all. By staying merged with the world until it hurt himself, Wang Lin finally managed to make Yao Bingyun lose track of him. However, this took 3 days. During these 3 days, the blockade formed by the cultivators in the Western domain had shrunken a lot, like a circle that was constantly shrinking. A powerful killing intent had gathered within the blockade. This killing intent was so powerful that it caused the dust in space to be blown back. After temporarily shaking off Yao Bingyun's pursuit, Wang Lin appeared next to an abandoned planet without any signs of life. After taking a closer look at the planet, Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly and he muttered, "I'll use this one." Wang Lin knew that he was pressed for time. Aside from being able to merge with the world, the woman chasing him also had a method of prediction to be able to find his location. As a result, he had to work fast in the short period of time he had managed to get. Wang Lin's hands quickly formed seals and countless restrictions flew toward this abandoned planet. These restrictions immediately disappeared when they landed on the planet. Wang Lin didn't stop. He continued to circle the planet and place down restrictions. 1 hour later, his expression was a bit pale. With one step, he arrived on the planet. It was filled with ruins, the earth was cracked, and all the seas had dried up. After Wang Lin landed, he slapped his bag of holding and the soul flag appeared. With a shake of his hand, the soul flag turned into a black mist that spread out around the planet. Inside the black mist was the blood ancestor, who had his eyes closed. There were countless seals around him, and he was surrounded by the countless souls within the soul flag. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to reach out and take an illusory in origin soul. After crushing it, his left hand created a restriction. The illusory in origin soul trembled and revealed a terrifying cold gaze. Wang Lin threw the origin soul, and it disappeared into the planet. Wang Lin was breathing hard. Before Li Yuan left, he taught Wang Lin all of the annihilation restrictions. Although he didn't have the inheritance and thus can't use a lot of them and their power was lacking, there were still some that he could use. The 9 Deaths Perish formation was one of them. It was also called one of the 3 Great Forbidden Restrictions by Li Yuan. This formation didn't require the restriction heart. It required a large amount of origin souls. Although Li Yuan could use this formation, the requirements were too strict, so he had never actually placed one down before. Wang Lin's expression was a bit pale, but he didn't stop. He continued to grab origin souls. He didn't have many illusory in origin souls, as most of them were devoured by him. He decided to use Ascendant Origin Soul instead. He continued to place restrictions on them and threw them into the planet. Several hours later, Wang Lin's face was even more pale. His eyes lit up and he stared at the blood ancestor's origin soul. After hesitating a little, his eyes revealed a decisive gaze. He grabbed the blood ancestor's origin soul and placed a restriction between the eyebrows. However, he didn't throw it into the planet and let it remain inside the black mist. After taking a deep breath, Wang Lin directly sank into the depths of the planet. He withdrew all his aura, leaving none of it leaking, and even used the restriction Li Yuan taught him to hide himself. This hiding restriction was very mysterious. When Li Yuan used it, Wang Lin couldn't detect him at all. However, it wasn't perfect if one didn't have the restriction heart. In that case, there was still a chance of being detected by others. This was why Wang Lin didn't use this when he was surrounded. He sank into the depths of the planet and sat down. Killing intent flashed across his eyes and he muttered, "Yao family and those cultivation families chasing after me, I have prepared a gift for you all. This is merely the prelude." As he sneered, Wang Lin closed his eyes. He didn't reveal even a hint of his aura. It was as if he had merged with the cultivation planet. Time gradually passed. 3 days later, the blockade in the western domain continued to shrink. On this day, the first wave of cultivators arrived at the planet Wang Lin was hiding in. There was a woman in front of all those cultivators. She was Yao Bingyun. Her expression was cold as her right hand formed a seal as if she was predicting something. Her gaze fell on the planet Wang Lin was hiding in. Then her eyes lit up and coldly said, "Su Mu is here." Behind Yao Bingyun were 2 members of the Yao family, one man and woman. They had relaxed expression and the man smiled. This person must have realized that he couldn't hide anymore and placed some kind of formation here. As the young man spoke, he took a step forward and charged toward the planet. Yao Bingyun frowned slightly and followed after him. The cultivation families that were with them also headed toward the planet. However, everyone, including the young man, stopped outside the planet. No one truly entered the planet. The young man smiled and loudly said, "Fellow cultivators, please help my Yao family destroy the planet so that no matter what trap he set up, he will be destroyed along with the planet." The surrounding cultivators all agreed, and without hesitation, they quickly began attacking the planet. In an instant, all sorts of origin energy spells fell down on the abandoned planet. Loud rumbles echoed across the stars and large pieces of the planet fell off, making it seem as if it was going to collapse. Yao Bingyun frowned. She had pursued Wang Lin for a long time now, so she knew how astute he was. He would definitely not leave such a big opening. As the large amount of cultivators attacked, a large amount of gravel spread out and began to spread. Large cracks appeared on the planet like deep gorges. When the young man from the Yao family began using celestial spells, the planet's collapse intensified. Dense fluctuations spread out and gradually, a large amount of sword energy came from the distance as another wave of cultivators arrived. When they saw what was happening, they began attacking the broken planet without asking any questions. Yao Bingyun frowned even harder. She felt like something was wrong but couldn't think of a reason. The countless spells caused the planet to continue to collapse and a large amount of gravel to spread out. This caused almost the entire area to be surrounded by gravel. In the end, there was an earth-shattering explosion and a powerful ripple spread out. This planet had completely collapsed. This collapse was filled with destructive aura that could kill everything within it in an instant. Large amounts of gravel had spread out from the impact, and the collapse of the planet caused the surrounding origin energy to distort. An aura of death rippled across the area. At this moment, as the loud sound spread out, more rays of light flew in from the distance. Another group of cultivators had arrived. The feeling of uneasiness in Yao Bingyun's heart became even stronger. She suddenly looked around and saw the pieces of gravel spread out within a 100,000 feet radius. It was as if this gravel had surrounded the cultivators. Something is wrong. Yao Bingyun's eyes narrowed and was about to warn them. However, just at this moment, a ray of purple lightning suddenly appeared on one gravel furthest away. Once it appeared, it quickly connected with another piece of gravel. This didn't end. In an instant, there were flashes of lightning coming from all the gravel. In an instant, all of the gravel within 100,000 feet was connected by lightning. As crackling sounds echoed, it formed a lightning cage within the 100,000 feet area. All of this happened in an instant. It was incomprehensibly fast. By the time the cultivators realized it, it had already formed. At the same time, one of the fragments gave off the fluctuations of an illusory XIAN cultivator before it suddenly collapsed. It created an explosion as powerful as an illusory XIAN cultivator exploding. The impact seriously injured everyone under the illusory XIAN stage. Two people instantly coughed out blood and their eyes dimmed. The explosion of this fragment was like a signal, as other fragments exploded one by one. In the end, the power of all the fragments exploding rampaged within the area. Angry roars and shouts echoed within the area. The cultivators trapped inside used various spells to resist this storm while trying to rush out. However, the power of the explosion seemed to have fused together and become extremely strong. As it spread, if a cultivator died, their origin soul wouldn't be able to escape at all. Their origin soul would be absorbed by the storm and would then be forced to explode, becoming part of this force. However, there were many illusory XIAN and corporeal Yang cultivators among the people chasing Wang Lin. After the initial commotion, they grouped together. The counterattack they formed was powerful beyond belief. With Yao Bingyun taking the lead whenever she attacked, a large amount of the destructive force from the formation would collapse. It was as if the storm that was contracting and devouring everything inside was unable to devour more. Instead, it was being pushed outward by the retaliation of the cultivators. For a while, thunderous rumbles filled the area. At this moment, a black mist silently spread and a burst of mournful cries came from within it. The Blood Ancestor's origin soul slowly condensed within. At the moment the Blood Ancestor's origin soul condensed, an extremely cold voice said, "Explode!" This voice came from the only gravel that hadn't collapsed. The moment this voice appeared, the Blood Ancestor's origin soul emitted a powerful blood-colored light before it collapsed. A ripple spread like crazy after the origin soul collapsed. Every cultivator that was touched by this ripple was immediately killed, unless their cultivation was extremely powerful. The eyes of an illusory XIAN cultivator from a family from the northern domain were filled with terror. He was extremely close to the Blood Ancestor, and as soon as the Blood Ancestor collapsed, the ripples hit him. He let out a miserable groan before his body collapsed. Even his origin soul wasn't able to escape and dissipated. Another cultivator from the southern domain was about to rush out, but his body immediately stiffened as the ripple touched him. His body immediately exploded into a mist of blood. In an instant, there were countless casualties within the 100,000 feet area. Wang Lin's figure appeared outside the 100,000 feet area. His hand reached out and the black mist condensed back into the soul flag and he put it back inside his bag. Then his figure flickered and charged forward. Just as he was about to disappear, Yao Bingyun suddenly closed in and her 2 fingers mercilessly pressed down. Her phoenix eyes were filled with killing intent and looked extremely vicious. Xibin had prepared for this for a long time. She was waiting for the moment Wang Lin appeared. She was confident that this finger could absolutely take Su Mu's life. This finger contained the celestial spell Soul Perishing Seal. It was specialized in damaging the origin soul. A mere corporeal young cultivator has no chance of survival in the face of the Soul Perishing Seal. Wang Lin's body trembled and he was forced out 1,000 feet away. He coughed out a large mouthful of blood and his face turned deathly pale. However, he didn't pause at all. He stepped back into the void and fled far away. He isn't dead. Yao Bingyun was startled and her eyes shined brightly. She rushed forward and chased once more. The collapse of the blood ancestor's origin soul caused a large number of the cultivators that were chasing Wang Lin to die. No one had expected that Su Mu would have this ace. There were several Yao family members within that 100,000 feet radius. They weren't able to escape and died within the explosion. As the ripples dissipated, the 100,000 feet area was filled with blood. This time simply too many people had died. However, this was only a small portion of the people hunting Wang Lin. Rays of light came in from the distance and gradually all the cultivators chasing Wang Lin gathered here. The slaughter here caused their minds to tremble, but their intent to kill Wang Lin became even stronger. We can't let this Su Mu escape. Otherwise, once he retaliates, it will be a catastrophe. Right now it is no longer a battle between Su Mu and the Yao family but a battle to exterminate this demon. Only by killing Master Demon Su Mu can we be at peace. Chase! These cultivators that came later directly rushed out after Wang Lin. The Yao family members' eyes were blood red as they chased after Wang Lin. Countless cultivators had died to this large formation. So the name Su Mu spread like crazy within the All-Heaven star system. Even some old monsters put their gazes on the dispute between the Yao family and Su Mu. While resisting countless cultivation families and the Yao family with his own strength, not only did he not die, but he killed several people and gained the title of Master Demon. Then he used a formation and killed countless cultivators, shaking the minds of his pursuers. He even frightened cultivation families enough to make them withdraw from the pursuit. This caused Su Mu to become a new star within the All-Heaven star system. Word of the battles between Su Mu and the Yao family were spread out by certain people, and became known to all the cultivators in the All-Heaven star system. The name Su Mu became even more famous. In the Thunder Celestial Temple at the top of the Cloud Pagoda, Qing Shui was cultivating with his eyes closed. He opened his eyes, looked into the distance and muttered, "This child has a style similar to me in my youth, very good." The hunt didn't stop, and it became even more intense. Countless cultivators flew like meteors as they chased after Wang Lin. Wang Lin's figure reappeared in the void. He staggered when he appeared and coughed out another mouthful of blood with a pale expression. His eyes were gloomy and his killing intent was even stronger. "If I didn't have the ancient god leather armor, I would have died." Wang Lin rushed out several dozen feet before he merged with the world and quickly fled. There was no longer any blockade ahead, so the origin energy in the area was calm. However, Wang Lin didn't directly escape from pursuers behind him. Wang Lin knew that as long as that woman was hunting him, the other side would eventually catch up. Moreover, even without that woman, Wang Lin still wouldn't choose to escape so far that the cultivators couldn't catch up to him. Wang Lin adhered by a simple principle. If others don't offend me, I won't offend them. If they offend me, I'll kill them. The cultivators hunting him had already ignited his anger. How could he let them go so easily? "If you want to kill me, you must pay a price." Wang Lin's eyes were extremely cold. His body flickered and he merged with the world. Countless cultivators hunting Wang Lin rushed past the boundary between the western and northern domains. They used various spells to speed themselves up while pursuing Wang Lin. The killing intent they gave off was like an unsheathed sword that was closing in on Wang Lin. Wang Lin's figure appeared in the northern domain. This was the first place he appeared when he came from the Alliance star system. His mood didn't fluctuate at all and his divine sense spread out, searching for something. A moment later, Wang Lin's expression changed and a ripple appeared behind him. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to take a step forward and disappear. The moment Yao Bingyun appeared, Wang Lin disappeared. Yao Bingyun's face was filled with killing intent. She let out a cold snort and continued chasing. It didn't take long before rays of light flew by. They were the cultivators and Yao family members hunting Wang Lin. Along the way, Wang Lin didn't move too far, because he was waiting for these cultivators. His heart was filled with killing intent. He wasn't going to let any of them go, and he wanted to catch them all at once. This was especially true for the cold woman who could also merge with the world. Only then would he have some time to rest. Otherwise, with these people pursuing him, he wouldn't even have time to rest. Wang Lin had also decided that he wasn't going to let the families of these cultivators go. He had already warned them, but they were still determined to kill him. Since that was the case, they had to be willing to pay the price. As his powerful killing intent brewed, Wang Lin's eyes became even colder. In the northern domain, Wang Lin began appearing much more than before. Every time he appeared, he would begin searching. However, he would immediately withdraw his divine sense as he couldn't waste any time before he merged with the world again. If he was a bit slow, that woman would catch up. As a result, his speed slowed down by a lot. The pursuing cultivators gradually flew across the northern domain. However, the cultivators from the northern domain began to hesitate. Some of them had even chosen to quit. Seeing the planets that were slaughtered in the western domain had shocked them. However, although it was shocking, it didn't affect them at the time. But at this moment, if that Sumu were to go crazy here, the consequence would be unimaginable. With this in mind, the cultivation family members from the northern domain stayed in the back and slowly left. However, there were still people that naively hunted Wang Lin even though their families were in the northern domain. Wang Lin's figure appeared in the center of the northern domain close to the 5 main planets. He was very familiar with this area, especially planet Ranyun where he lived for almost 100 years. Even though he had returned here, he had no time to feel melancholy. His divine sense spread out and his eyes immediately lit up, revealing a look of excitement. Found it! It was still in the northern domain. Wang Lin's body flickered and he charged toward the 5 main planets. In the northern domain, an extra thing had appeared next to the 5 main planets. Many cultivators saw this as a huge, oval life form. It had countless tentacles extending from its body and was extremely terrifying. Fortunately, it didn't injure anyone. When it arrived next to the 5 main planets, its body contracted and turned into a planet. In the years that passed, countless debris in space were attracted and a thin layer of Earth had formed over the surface. Looking from a distance, it was no different from a cultivation planet. However, the cultivators from the northern domain knew that this wasn't a cultivation planet and that it shouldn't be provoked. Even when they passed by, they would go far around it and didn't dare to step onto the planet. A dense black fog gradually surrounded the planet and gave off a cold aura. In the past several years, this had basically become a forbidden zone in the northern domain. It was the Moongazer serpent from back then. On this day, Wang Lin's figure appeared outside the planet formed by the Moongazer serpent. He looked at the Moongazer serpent with a cautious gaze, but he didn't hesitate to charge into the fog. When he entered the fog surrounding the Moongazer serpent, Yao Bingyun appeared. She stared at the fog around the Moongazer serpent and frowned. He lured everyone this whole way, so he must be up to something. Yao Bingyun's eyes lit up as if her gaze could penetrate the fog and see inside. Just at this moment, rays of light came in from the distance. The cultivators and the Yao family members hunting Wang Lin arrived. The cultivators from the northern domain already had a bad feeling. When they saw the planet formed by the Moongazer serpent, their expressions became gloomy. This thing isn't a cultivation planet but a strange beast. I personally saw this beast turn into a planet. Although this thing has no offensive capabilities, it is still not anything good. Could that Sumu have lured us here to use that thing to kill us? Yao Bingyun didn't act rashly but cautiously observed. At this moment, Wang Lin directly pierced through the black fog and arrived above the Moongazer serpent. The ground was filled with cracks and the tentacles swayed side to side. It was as if not much had changed since then. Wang Lin revealed a sneer and he rushed into the Moongazer serpent's body. He followed the path he took before and headed to where the Moongazer serpent's bone was. Come and attack me. As long as you all anger the Moongazer serpent, then everything will be resolved. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a grim light.